It's the NLW podcast, you know the deal, and we haven't done this for like 2 weeks, have we? No, strange that. Basically, I feel like sometimes I just don't want to do speaking for 20 minutes, even though I said I wanted to get into a habit of doing it. Sometimes there's just nothing to talk about in the world of wrestling, and maybe sometimes I'm just not doing anything with my life. So I think that every 2 weeks for the podcast is good, in my opinion. This is the amount of time that I like to do it, because it gives me enough to kind of talk about in however long the podcast is, 30 minutes, something like that. But in future, I'd like to ideally have it weekly, but at the very least, I will make it every 2 weeks. So if you don't see an episode 1 week, it'll probably be out the next week. I'm not going to go for months on end without uploading the podcast, because I still do enjoy the process, and I enjoy having people on every so often to kind of talk rubbish about wrestling. Speaking of which, I've got a new kind of project in the works with certain somebody, which, don't get your hopes up too much yet, but it should be a fun listen. That's all I'm going to say. But there'll be more revealed about that in the coming weeks. Elsewhere, with NLW, let's start with NLW. We'll talk about War Games, we'll talk about AEW Full Gear, and we'll talk about the ringside sale with Black Friday and all the figures, and all the figure reveals as well, we shall talk about. But first of all, I'll talk about NLW and what I'm working on. So I've just uploaded NLW episode 106 to Patreon. And that's a great thing that Patreon's got now, is that you can upload videos. So I don't have to just put it on YouTube and it be unlisted. I can actually put up a pretty high quality version of it as well on the Patreon. So if you want to, if you're on the Patreon right now, you'll know it's up. But if you're on the YouTube, then you can subscribe to my Patreon for just $1 and watch NLW 106 early, as well as watching the 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble early. That's going to be out this Saturday, and I'm excited for people to see the end of NLW 24/7. And, I've got a lot of people who are disappointed in NLW 24/7 ending, but I feel now is the right time to end the series. As I said in a video a couple weeks back, please respect my decision. It's very difficult to keep 3 separate series running at the same time with Metal, NLW, and NLW 24/7. There will be something to replace this, don't worry, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit easier on the whole mental health, so to speak. So yeah, NLW 24/7 sometimes going to be a bit of a strain to get so many shows out, but this new series, I'm hoping, will be even better than NLW 24/7. So just stay tuned for an announcement coming on that. What else have I been doing? I've just been editing match cards for after WrestleMania, trying to finalize plans for WrestleMania, what the results are going to be, because, I'm kind of torn on different outcomes for WrestleMania matches. So, anything is possible, and I'm very much looking forward to you guys seeing NLW WrestleMania. It should be a really fun show, and I'm looking forward to filming it. But there is also a lot of kind of work I need to do as well. First of all, trying to get the arena ready for it, and my new arena as well, which is on NLW 106. If you've seen it already, that's going to be kind of altered a little bit for WrestleMania, just to make it kind of feel that big time. I don't really want to make this kind of feel like a really big show. I want to make it feel like, but potentially like the biggest show I've ever done. I want it have that feel really in like a big stadium type arena setting. So we'll see how well that goes. But yeah, that's all I'm really working on in NLW. Hopefully after this podcast, I'll start filming the final episode before WrestleMania, which will have Triple H versus Drew McIntyre, and also John Cena versus MJF. So look forward to that. And let's move on to figure news now. A lot of figure news recently in the world of wrestling action figures. We've got new reveals from Ringside. So we've also got the brand new Logan Paul Ultimate Edition. I will not be picking it up because, I'm sure it's going to be a good figure, but, I'm not a massive Logan Paul fan. I don't think I'm going to shill $60 on it, but hey, each to their own. It does look like a cool action figure though. So, more of the exclusives, I don't know if I'm a massive fan of. I don't like the exclusivity. I just want it, but that's just me being selfish, really. But yeah, there's also been some new images released of Elite 99. So we've got Cowboy Brock in his farmer overalls, which looks pretty good, and that's got a chase with it. We've also got the Boogeyman revealed, and the chase, I think, looks really, really cool, in my opinion. But a lot of people say it looks awful. But I remember loving this look. I thought it was scary as hell when he first came out. You know, the kind of reverse Boogeyman with like the all red face paint and like the black eyes and like the kind of soulless eyes. Really scary. And that's a chase I really want to pick up. I might be in the minority on that one. And the Seth Rollins as well. We've seen images of that. The head scan leaves a little bit to be desired though, which is a bit unfortunate, you know, because they've really kind of knocked it out of the park with Rollins face scans. As recently as like the last Elite 93, I want to say. So it's a shame that this one isn't as good, but I'm sure you can do a face swap on it because the attire is amazing. But we've also got Happy Corbin and Sad Corbin as well. Like, just a really cool figure to have. You know, you may not be the biggest Baron Corbin fan, but like the fact that it's got two different gimmicks in the same packaging is quite cool. So yeah, I'd be happy to pick up all of these, to be honest. They look pretty sick. And also the top picks as well, like the Red Pants Lashley is one that I would like to pick up, especially like the Almighty gimmick. And the John Cena from, what is it, SummerSlam 2021? Yeah. So, yeah, some really cool reveals, and we know there's going to be more coming out with the Ruthless Aggression series, with that Eric Bischoff, and the Stone Cold new attire with the camo pants. Looks really sick. And that Ruthless line is fantastic as well. And new Legends figures as well coming. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, if I can kind of quickly Google search them here. So, yeah, we've got like Paulie Dangerously, Fatu and Samu, and the Hulk Hogan from WCW as well. That's pretty sick. So, a lot of cool figures to speak of. And of course, The Undertaker, Ruthless Aggression. I like how they're re-releasing these old figures into a Mattel line. I think that's a really cool feature of it. And as for what figures I've picked up, recently I've picked up some of the Black Friday deals that have been going on, mostly just the like ones for NLW. So I've picked up the Kenny Omega, the street attire. I've picked up the Bryan Danielson AEW figure. I've picked up a Britt Baker Supreme because I do want to add her to NLW. And just like a bunch of other figures, really just to improve the kind of stylistic choices in NLW, so to speak, just to kind of freshen it up. And I do like new attires, adding new attires to NLW, because it not to say dates the program, but definitely helps keep it a little bit fresh using new attires and new figures. And, you know, I like it every so often. I've not bought figures in a long time though, so it's about 6 months since I last bought a set of figures. But you know, with the sale on, I thought I'll buy them in bulk now and then try and go easy for the rest of the year. But we'll see. I also picked up a Bron Breakker, so yeah, hopefully I'll use him in NLW in the future, or this new series. But that's a series that, if you're on Patreon, you'll know what it is, but the official announcement is coming real soon. So that's it for figure news. What about wrestling news? Well, there's been some big wrestling news. Of course, we've had Full Gear and War Games in the time that I've been off of the podcast. So first of all, MJF, new AEW champion. Fantastic news. Think he's going to be a great champion for that company. I hope he holds the title for a very long time. In terms of what's going on with William Regal as well, that whole storyline thread looks pretty cool. And you've also got Jamie Hayter as the new AEW Women's Champion. I think that this is the kick that the AEW Women's Division needs. Hopefully they can really build to a big Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker feud. And Toni Storm as well is pretty good in defeat. So, you know, hopefully they can really push their women's division like it deserves to be treated. And the Elite are back. The Elite are back, and we had the I guess you could say infamous now segment where they were kind of mocking CM Punk and kind of biting their opponents and kind of mocking CM Punk in any way they can possibly do. You know, I don't care, man. It's wrestling at the end of the day. They're both, because, you know, you heard CM Punk kind of allude to it when he was doing MMA commentary. You know, you don't want to hear him in any locker room. I think at the moment, at the end of the day, they're just human beings, and it's not anyone else's place to decide who is in the right or who is in the wrong. I think both parties acted irresponsibly in their own ways, but, hopefully people can move on from this. Get over it, as Kenny Omega said, even though he was alluding to it. I thought it was funny. There you go. I thought it was funny. I love tongue-in-cheek stuff. I love the Elites trolling. I think it's entertaining to me, even as a CM Punk fan. I am not, I call myself a CM Punk fan. I'm not a CM Punk stan, because I've seen a lot of people try and defend CM Punk to the death. It just like, I would argue maybe, I don't want to say get over it. I just want to say, like, take a step back and realize that he's obviously injured at the moment. He's probably got a lot of stuff going on in his head, and I just hope for the best outcome for all parties involved, because no matter what they do, I will always be fans of them as professional wrestlers. That's a positive note, isn't it? It's a bit on the fence of me, but still, that's my opinion on the whole situation. My opinion of the Elite versus Death Triangle series, all for it, love it. I would have them wrestle every single week for the rest of the time, because both teams are fantastic. We also have, in WWE, the War Games matches, which really, I thought they delivered. In my opinion, they did drag a little bit, but, I've got a short attention span, what can I say? So, long form matches like that sometimes struggle to hold my attention, and they did. The women's one was fine. The men's one was pretty good too. What I really loved about it though was the storyline between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and how they're kind of planting the seeds for that. Hopefully they become a tag team and take on the Usos. That's what I'd love to see. But I love the different twists and turns that it's taken there, and to see Kevin Owens in a high profile position in WWE again, it is good to see, with Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn finally getting some love in the main event scene after all these years. It's good to see too. Roman Reigns as well. His work has been fantastic. The stuff with Jay. And every time they're on SmackDown, they deliver something interesting or funny or something that is worth watching. So I love that. The Bray Wyatt stuff as well continues to tick along slowly, but it's still intriguing to me. I'm still enjoying their segments, and hopefully this match with LA Knight happens soon. That'll be an interesting kind of dynamic between them. What else happened? Oh yeah, Austin Theory cashed in Money in the Bank and failed, but he has since become United States champion. And it was a pretty damn good match, honestly. Probably my favourite match of the night between Lashley, Rollins, and Theory. I think that Theory now with this edge as the United States champion really can go forward. It's a real shame that Seth's reign has to end so soon, but I kind of get it. You want to build Theory up, but I wouldn't mind them hot-potatoing the title between Rollins and Theory, to be honest. If you want to turn Rollins face, I'd be all for it. I think that would be interesting to do. But yeah, like WWE seems like it's in a good place at the moment. AEW feels like it's in a good place at the moment. The TV may not always be on point all the time, but it's still got a lot of entertaining stuff. And I'm more optimistic than pessimistic about the future of wrestling, really, at the moment, in terms of like the mainstream stuff. But I have been kind of keeping up with it more than I have done in a couple of years. So yeah, I did try and check out Dynamite last week. And it was okay. I think that there is still some stuff that I'm kind of not fully into. It feels a bit stale to me, but there is a lot going on with that company that makes me more positive than negative about it. And, we've got Final Battle coming up for ROH. Hopefully that's the start of ROH stuff being moved off AEW TV. Not that it's bad, it's just a bit of a distraction to me, at least. And with WWE as well, hopefully they can build some momentum heading into the Royal Rumble. I honestly have no idea who will win the Royal Rumble. If Cody is ready and healthy, then it's obviously going to be him, but, we'll have to wait and see whether he is healthy on that front. In terms of matches and Wrestler of the Week, I would say my match of the week, probably that triple threat from Survivor Series, absolute banger. Wrestler of the Week would have to be, probably not MJF because he wasn't technically this week, so it would have been MJF, but Sami Zayn, just because of his character work and all the stuff he's doing, and I hope that he can continue to grow as a performer and hopefully win the tag titles with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. That would be sick. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Cody won the world title from Roman, and then Owens and Zayn became tag champions. That'd be my dream, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, NLW updates now. Just before we get to the Patreon shouts out, NLW updates. We've got this Saturday. It's the greatest Royal Rumble, 50-man greatest Royal Rumble from NLW 24/7. After that, It's over. It's done. If you want to watch it right now, you can do so on the Patreon for just $1, but it will be on YouTube in its entirety this Saturday. And it's a sad day to end NLW 24/7. I've had a lot of fun doing it, but it's time for the series to end here. And who will be the final 24/7 champion? Find out this Saturday. The week after, it will be NLW 106 put up on YouTube. That'll be the 10th of December. And then the week after that will be Metal. So a packed month of wrestling action from NLW and Metal Wrestling in the month of December. Make sure you check those episodes out. In terms of what's going on this NLW Fix channel, hopefully going to be uploading a video every day in the run up to Christmas. But we will, I hope to do that. That's what I did last year and had a lot of fun doing it. It depends if I stay motivated. I'll try and pump out some content this month because I do enjoy kind of the little challenge I set for myself to do video every day, because I've got a lot of ideas in the tank and I want to kind of show them, put them out to the world, so to speak. So expect that on this channel, a lot more content coming your way. And again, if you've got any questions about it, leave them in the comments below or message me. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And we will go on to the Patreon shouts out before I have a little thing to say at the end here. So I always get it in this podcast. I always kind of get flustered where I'm trying to find my patrons. So here they are. Thank you to Cameron Freeman, I'm trying to pronounce this, Jensen, it's a keyboard mashup. Thank you for your support. Brother Dusan, RSW, Piggy Wiggy 8, Jason Beggs, Joshua, Kid Zap, Casey Hellschool, Devon Downlin, Ryan McCarthy, Cupid, Anthony Hill, Brandon Furman, Cringe God, Flynn Lampkin, and John on Patreon. Woo, a lot of patrons this month. Thank you for your support. If you want to support the Patreon for just $1 and get access to the Greatest Royal Rumble, NLW episodes early, and more, check out the link in the description to my Patreon. And yeah, thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to get a guest on in the next couple of weeks. And I'm planning on hopefully doing like a Christmas special where I get a bunch of people on and we just kind of talk rubbish for a while. And speaking of talking rubbish, I've got a new podcast coming soon with my good friend Ayo Piggy. So that's a little bit of a tease for you. I'm sure maybe by the time this has come out, I've put out a teaser, but for now, there is something cooking in the works, project that I hope people will enjoy. It'll be kind of similar to this podcast, but not quite. It'll be a little bit different. But yeah, I've already said too much. I'll wait to announce something coming soon, but yeah, I'm excited for it. And I'm also excited to tell you what's coming after NLW 24/7 if you don't already know. But that's it from me from this podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you guys later.